All right, so I would like to welcome you guys to episode 2 of The Story Behind the Artist. I got a very special guest in the building tonight. His name is William Bryant. He's a family nurse, health practitioner, and he's going to be touching on a little bit of the concerns that we have as far as these vaccines and all that other stuff that everybody's talking about in the news, man. It's crazy out here. What's going on, Will? How you doing? Happy New Year's and happy birthday. Today is January 14th. We got a Capricorn in the building. Hey.
Hey, Capricorn in the house, Alpha and Omega. We end the year and we begin the year.
Hey, I ain't even look at it like that, man. So what are some of the things you've been up to, man? I appreciate you sliding.
Relax, enjoy some time with my girl, my children, my sister. Had a very beautiful day.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. So you got any plans for the upcoming year? Because I know, just like me, you probably don't even make New Year's resolutions. So you probably are in the process of executing, just moving forward.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I just basically, the way I approach it is I just want to be better the next day. Every day I improve to get it better. I'm competing against myself on a day-to-day basis. So that's my point right there. Just stay right there. Where was I yesterday? Am I better today? Can I be even better tomorrow? And that's how we approach it.
I've been doing a little bit of research, and do you know that legally nobody can make you take any type of vaccine? Did you know that?
I do know that.
You have to be able to know what the properties are that are being ingested in your body. And that's why we have Mr. Bryant in the building tonight. He's gonna touch on some of the things that we're pretty much concerned about because he is in the medical field. We don't really have anybody, especially in the Black community, to alleviate those concerns. What have you been dealing with? What have you seen as far as your work? And for the people that don't know, you can kind of touch on exactly what it is you do.
So what I do is I'm a family nurse practitioner. I have a company in which I do home visits, and I pretty much arrange for patients to get home health, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and if some clients I manage them medically. In regard to this whole situation that we have going on right now, most of the clients that I'm seeing, they normally would go in and see their primary doctor, but as a result of this COVID situation, they're unable to see their primary doctor. So these patients are 70, 80 years old and doing, Zoom meetings and virtual doctor's visits, they're just not equipped to do it, especially in the neighborhood. So what I've been doing is going into the neighborhood amongst the people and seeing the patients and addressing their needs immediately. In regard to that, what I have noticed in this whole situation and what I've been preaching and which I want more people to be aware of, they've done a study. University of Chicago did a huge study. And it showed that over 80% of the people that died from COVID-19, it was due to vitamin D deficiency.
Say that one more time for the people. Wait, I don't think they heard you. Say that one more time. You said what?
80% of the people that died from COVID-19, especially in the Black community, especially around February and March of last year, especially in Chicago, were vitamin D deficient.
What is it about the vitamin D specifically that helps with?
So we know that the best source of vitamin D is the sun.
Correct.
And we do know the darker you are, the more melanated you are, the less resistant you are to absorb the sun. So we take those paradigms and we put someone in Chicago. Our bodies were designed to be in Africa, not on Cottage Grove. Our bodies are not able to handle cold environments and being inside and lack of sun. So what we used to do back in the day, especially down south, a lot of our grandparents would give us cod liver oil. Cod liver oil is probably one of the second or third best sources of vitamin D. So we pretty much stay pretty healthy. But to get back to answering your question, why vitamin D is so important, I had to go back and really research what's actually going on. Most of the patients that were getting very sick, especially back in February or March, you remember they kept saying we're going to be out of ventilators. How many ventilators do we have?
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember that? That was in the whole controversy. We won't have enough ventilators to treat the patients. What we found out is the reason why they need ventilators is because their lungs get very inflamed.
Oh, wow.
So their lungs become stiff. So imagine your lung being a balloon. Instead of it being a balloon, it's more like a concrete balloon. It's unable to expand, increase, and decrease like it's supposed to. Cytokinase is the hormone that creates that paradigm. Vitamin D is what prevents cytokinase from secreting in the body. If you have a limited amount of vitamin D, cytokinase will just cause what it says, a cytokinase storm.
Wow, that's very insightful. And for those that want to do research on their own and just kind of want to Google it, can you go ahead and spell that out? That way, people could just look it up. Because I got a lot of followers that are they're into their health, they like taking their herbs, they're into fitness and what have you.
I'm gonna tell you how I came upon this knowledge. To be honest with you, as I started going deeper into this knowledge, I had already knew about the study from University of Chicago. I saw other studies about vitamin D in relation to COVID-19. And what I decided to say was, okay, let's see what ends up killing most patients when they do have the extreme case of that. And this was called ARDS, which is acute respiratory distress syndrome. So I said, let me do research on vitamin D and its relationship to ARDS, because we know ARDS has been going on since the beginning of time. It's just what it is, acute respiratory distress syndrome.
A lot of people don't even know what that means. It's like not even a part of their vocabulary. So ARDS.
So what that means is anytime you say something is acute, you have two different conditions. You either have acute, which is right now, or chronic, which is something that's been going on for a year to 10 years. Acute is something that happens very abruptly. Usually when you have something chronic, your body is able to adapt to whatever is going on, hence the word chronic. It's able to still live with this situation, but eventually you do succumb to wherever that underlying condition is. With acute, sometimes you don't have a chance to adapt because it hits you so hard. And that's what's happened with these patients. It's acute respiratory distress syndrome. It's the same thing that happened in MERS, SARS, all those different types of respiratory infections that happened a long time ago. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what caused the problem. The end result is you go into acute respiratory distress syndrome, which is secondary to cytokinase storm. That's spelled cytokinease, cytokinase storm. Read about what cytokinase does. Then what you also have to understand is vitamin D. The simplest way I can put this in any term, I'm gonna put it in 3 different sports, which is my favorite thing. Vitamin D is your quarterback for the football team, it's your pitcher for your baseball team, and it's your point guard for your basketball team. If you don't have none of those, that means if I'm playing basketball, hey, it's great that Shaq can go up the court and dribble the ball. He might get away with it in one possession, but after a while, they're gonna key in on him and they're gonna stop him because he's not meant to be a point guard, he's a center.
Would you even go as far as to say that vitamin D could be the main fight against COVID-19?
I would definitely say that vitamin D is definitely one of the main fights. That's a natural, that allows your body to fight naturally. So we do have what's called an innate immune system. When we get into innate, that means something that you really can't explain, something that's God-given, something that's designed. Like if I cut my hand, I don't have to say, epidermis heal itself, skin repair itself. I don't do it in any of that. It does it naturally. Your immune system does it. This whole body does it. But a lot of times the things we do, the foods we eat, inhibit or prevent that from occurring.
You just dropped a whole bunch of gems, man. Like, I really appreciate that. And I want all of my listeners right now, if you know somebody that is dealing with this condition, whatever you want to call it, I call it a misdiagnosis. COVID is what they call it anyway. If you have anyone dealing with this, vitamin D. That's exactly what I'm drawing from this conversation. He's certified. He's been in the medical industry. How long have you been in the health field so far?
I started off as a nurse in 1998. Let me go back to my path. I started nursing school back in 93. I went to Grambling State University. Finished up in 98, became a nurse, worked in med-surg for about a year and a half. Then I started in ICU, became the charge nurse in ICU, then the code leader, then the supervisor, then the director, and now I have my own practice. So it's been a nice maturation. I did nursing for a long period of time, decided, hey, bedside was nice, but I'm getting a little bit older. Let's start using our mind more cerebrally, and how can I help people differently? So I became an educator and a nurse practitioner. And with that, I can manage the patients independently. I'm actually one of the few people in Illinois, as far as nurse practitioners, that have what's called full practice authority, which means I work independently. I have a collaborating doctor that works for my company. My whole objective is just to try to equalize the situation with people and understand that medications are needed at certain times, but it is certain things that can help your body work more efficiently, such as diet, eating properly, decreasing stress. A lot of those things are super important. And the problem that I saw with this whole situation, ever since February, it was all about wear masks, social distance, when we know social distance is an oxymoron, because how can you be social and distant? That doesn't even make any sense. The reality is we need sunshine. We need to move around. We need to eat our fruits and vegetables. We need to eat more living things like plant-based diet. It's super important. I mean, I'm not the best at doing that, but I try to implement that the best I can. And it's super important. So that's the direction we're at right now.
Yeah, and I think that the times that we're in right now, you're going to see more and more restaurants coming up with a lot of vegan products on their menus and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest obstacles that I see, a lot of the healthy choices are not accessible to people of color, and also they're expensive. So, if I can get the $5 challah for $5, that's going to cover everything. That's what we're going to do. So it's kind of sad, but that's the direction I see. And just to go back, just to piggyback on what I was going to tell you before, in regards to this vitamin D, I don't mean to keep harping on it, but
please do.
But for me, this vitamin D thing has been a very important thing to me, because if you show something that shows you have an 80% reduction in mortality rate, when I say mortality, preventing the actual death of someone with this situation, with respiratory distress syndrome, which is the end result of what we're going on to now. I don't really like to mention the word, because every time you mention the word, algorithms pop up, and I don't really want to get involved in all that.
I hear you.
To be honest with you, but the point is this: when you look back at everything, it's an 80% reduction in death. So the one question would be, what is the normal vitamin D level? You should be over 30. To prove my point, my daughter had to get some blood work. She was going away to college. Mm-hmm. I asked the doctor, I said, let's go ahead and do a vitamin D level on her. He's like, well, why? There's nothing really wrong with her. Why would you do that? I said, this was the time I was doing my research with my daughter going in Texas. At the time, this was in July when it was really bad. I said, well, if I'm preaching all this and talking about all this vitamin D and how good it is, I need to make sure my kid's level is okay. So I said,
Facts.
Go ahead and let's go ahead and do a vitamin D level on her just to see where we at.
Oh, man.
And he gave me a little pushback, his nurse, and I said, well, how about this then? Since you don't want to do it, since you're going to draw blood, I'm going to go ahead and write the order myself, and you can just go ahead and get the blood work done then, because I'm not going to have her get stuck twice if you're going to draw blood on her. So she says, well, let me just call him and see. So she called the doctor, and he said, okay, just do it. We draw the level, and I told you want the number to be around 30. Mm-hmm. Her vitamin D level was 16.
So she was like nowhere near the recommended.
She was super deficient, and she was 17, 18 years old.
All right, so you got a lot of people walking around right now with low vitamin D levels.
And don't even know it. So, I mean, this is a person that stays outside. She don't sit down at all. So when I saw 16 on her, I said, okay, well, every patient I have, I'm going to do vitamin D levels. And I would say literally 90% of them were vitamin D deficient. 9 out of 10.
Wow. I just learned a lot. I caught an earful.
And so to go back to this, I keep telling you that vitamin D is like your point guard for your immune system. It doesn't stop with just adult respiratory distress syndrome. It deals with autoimmune problems such as multiple sclerosis, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis. All of those are considered autoimmune deficiency problems where your body's attacking itself. Vitamin D, having an adequate level of vitamin D and making sure vitamin D level is up to par, it prevents a lot of those underlying conditions. And the strange thing about it is what I've been seeing is a lot of practitioners, doctors, whatever you want to call them, have been treating all these different conditions but not taking care of the underlying problem. Also, even take it even one step further, when we deal with cancer, that deals with the body attacking itself. That goes right back again to being vitamin D deficient. I'm not saying vitamin D solves everything, but I would just say, with all things being even, for a simple, easy solution, every person should automatically check and make sure the vitamin D level is up to par.
You just made me want to take mine. I'm going to go take my vitamin D levels tomorrow.
And if you ever have a problem and if you don't have a physician, you can always contact me and we can come get you started. I have a company that'll come out and draw blood. We'll do the blood work. I could probably do a telehealth visit on you, do the blood work on you, go over your results and can treat it right then and there. But my point is, this is a real simple fix. With all things being even, we wearing masks, we getting away from our family. We know that vitamin D helps your body work and helps your body heal itself. And it's the point guard of your immune system. So why not at least find out where that's at? That just to me makes sense.
Make sure you find out your vitamin D levels, because that might tell you a lot about yourself.
You should find out.
That made me want to just look at my vitamin D levels now. Real talk. And I think y'all should too.
Your average healthcare program doesn't want to order vitamin D levels because it costs more than your average test. Maybe a CBC may cost you $40. A vitamin D level test may cost you $189. Number one, have them check your vitamin D level.
Okay.
What is it? After you find out if it's adequate, then you're okay.
Right.
Based off what it is, you need to have it above at least over 30. So the average person can go at least what's called 1,000 IUs. Vitamin D3, 1,000 IUs.
So y'all heard that right. This is 1,000 IUs. People don't even know what an IU is. Real talk. So I want to make sure that we're educated in terms of our health, because they're going to scare us with this vaccine. They're going to try to make us do whatever it is that they got to do. We're smarter than that. We got to think 3 steps ahead, 4 steps ahead. A lot of people don't know what IUs are.
So IU is called international units. That's just a metric system to measure vitamin D. And a lot of times vitamin D is based on weight, your size, your height. So minimum 1,000 IUs, but if you take the cod oil and you're eating different fish, you're eating some of the fruits and vegetables. For me, one of the best herbs, I do moringa. Moringa covers a lot of nutrients. You do your sea moss. If you do moringa, sea moss, black seed oil, you pretty much covered on everything. Just those 3 alone is super important. And also water, super important. Whatever your weight is, you need to drink half of that in ounces. So if I'm 200 pounds, you need to take in at least 100 ounces of water.
So half of your weight in ounces of water and moringa. A lot of people, they follow me for the music. This is the person that you need to get your herbs, your holistic work done. Where are the people able to find you? You got a website?
Absolutely. You go to www.BryantHealthyLiving.com. So it's BryantHealthyLiving.
So it's Bryant Healthy Living. So we want to make sure that you get it correct. It's BryantHealthyLiving.com. Make sure you grab the herbs. The story behind him, the art of him healing. Healing is his passion. Go to the website, get the herbs and everything else. And I would like to thank him.
cytokinase, cytokine storm. When you look up that, find out what that means. Then the next step you're going to do, just Google vitamin D deficiency and its relationship to cytokine storm. Vitamin D deficiency and cytokine storm. Because cytokine storm is what is the end result of the situation we're dealing with right now. That's my whole point. We're doing all this and that. Nobody's talking about doing the vitamin D, and I don't understand why. That's the confusion that's making me very upset about the situation. That's why I'm speaking out about what I'm seeing.
Nobody's Googling vitamin D deficiency.
Nobody. It's like
we all know about the vaccine, and we all know about the test itself, but vitamin D, it plays such a vital role.
Here's my point. It's about social distance. It's about masks. It's about shots. Never ever hear about vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C. Why is that? It's very weird to me. That's all I'm asking. Do tier 1 level research. It's kind of interesting that a person gives us, or an entity gives us a problem and then offers you a solution.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Let's focus on the solution. Focus on that love energy, that love frequency that I always talk about. You know,
love. That's where it's at. You are the thermostat, not the temperature. Temperature is a condition, like the temperature is 98 degrees, I'm burning up, it's very hot. But you and I know the thermostat takes the temperature. My point is, understand that you are the damn thermostat.
So
you
take control, be proactive. You gotta be proactive.
You control who you are. Don't let the conditions dictate who you are. You represent the conditions. It starts from the world within, not the world without.
Yeah.
You dictate this whole situation.
Vitamin D is where it's at. You don't have to listen to the media. You don't have to worry about anything going on in terms of the virus being spread. Yes, of course, it's going to be the largest number of COVID cases because it's a new virus, whatever the case is. Vitamin D is where it's at. You don't have to complicate it any more than what it is. And these are the facts. So you cannot fact check what's real facts. The story behind the artist. Appreciate it once again for tuning in. Peace and blessings.